I just got off work. I'm a mop for a cleaning company, and I was thinking all shift about 5 Vim tips that I really like, so I'm going to show them to you. So first of all, let's open up a file. I have one pre-opened, but you should open one too. So I've got some config blocks here, and let's say we're recording a macro, right? Let's record it in QW because that's classic. And let's just make up a macro. I'm going to do tilde to toggle the case on that one, and then L to go forward. And then let's close it. Just a tiny macro. So if we run that 3 at W times, you can see it toggles the case. But what if, for instance, we wanted to add something else to the macro, right? We messed it up somehow and we wanted to append to the end of it. Well, there's actually a very easy way to do that. You can just record into the same name, but with a capital Q, and that'll just start writing to the end of the current macro. So if I do Q capital W, now we're overwriting, or not overwriting, appending to the end. And let's just say we want to go down a line after we go over. So I'll do a J and then Q. So now if we run at W, 3 at W, you can see it toggled and went down diagonally. So that's pretty cool. Quite useful sometimes too if you just forget to go down a line and you want to add that to the end of your macro. Have you ever wanted to move over space that isn't there? That's actually possible with the help of a setting called virtual edit. So you can do set VE, which stands for virtual edit, or you can type out the full thing, and then equals all. You don't need quotes actually. And this is for when you set it for different modes like visual, visual block, insert, normal. And what it lets you do is move over stuff that isn't there. So you can see I can start typing L and I'll go like into space that's not there. I could even control V and select like a block that doesn't exist. So that's pretty interesting for like making weird selection surfaces or running macros where there's like some gap you need to traverse over. And this kind of ties into the next one too, which is GM, which takes you to the middle of the screen. And this behaves slightly differently with virtual edit enabled because you're moving on to characters that don't otherwise exist. And then there's also G capital M, which moves you to the middle of like the text in the line. Neither of these are all that useful, I find usually, the G and GM, just because it's like a little weird to predict what the middle of the file is, but I'm sure if you're like a writer or something, and you have to deal with like center alignments, it could be kind of useful. What's also interesting is you can prefix GM with a %. So if I want to go like 20% of the screen, I can do 20 G capital M, and then I'll go 20%. So yeah, that's kind of a weird one. Let's go to another file for these next few. In car-C. Similar to the % with G and GM, you can actually go to % of the file with the % sign. You just type the % you want. So if I want to go 40% of the file, I just type 40%, and then it takes me there. Like I could do 10%, it would take me there. That actually doesn't look like 10%. Oh, maybe it is, maybe it is. I thought it would be like near the top, but yeah, that is 10%. So we can check, there's 182. Yeah, that about checks out, okay. So that one's sometimes useful if you vaguely know where something is, but it's more just cool to know about. Are you ever pasting something and you don't want the register to be overwritten? You want to keep pasting over something else? This is a pretty common workflow. It used to be you kind of had to get around this with a little bit of like mapping and stuff, and it was a little bit of a headache, but now you can just do capital P to print over it. Or I could just be completely tripping. Maybe this was always a feature. So say we have something in clipboard, like I'll yank this line, and then I want to paste it over here, I can do capital P, and that way I won't lose my this register, and then I can paste it again, and just keep doing that. Okay, so I did lose it there for some reason, but otherwise, oh, because I didn't do capital P. Yeah, that's why. That's a pretty useful one to know about. Then we also have the pipe, which lets you move to columns. So if I do pipe, that takes me to the beginning because I prefixed it with 0. That's the default. But if I want to go to column 5, I can do 5 pipe. And some people might ask, or 10 pipe, like why not just do L to go over, 0L? It's just like a little more efficient for some macros and scripts and stuff to be able to go to a specific column, especially if you've got virtual mode enabled, then you can go to any column. So that's kind of cool. Set VE equals all, and then I do 20, and then boom, like that. Hopefully you enjoyed these. Subscribe, I guess. Meh, you don't need to be told that. I'll see you next time.